he's going to attack like that. Predict the attack. It's this one. This one. This one. And this one. Yes. He's dead. Nice. Oh! Damn! Well played, Professor. But how will you fare in this tragic tale? A new knight stepped in for his fallen comrade. He slashed quickly, delivering 3 blows before finishing the battle with a 3-hit combination attack. Okay. Alright. This one. This one, I think. This one. This one. This one and this one. Yeah. Oh! 2 for 2, nice. Slice! Think you worked it out, do you? Let us see if you can predict the ending of this final chapter. The final knight drew his sword. As he attacked, he began to vanish into thin air, his movements veiled in the embrace of the shadows. Oh, he is disappearing. What the hell? Okay, I think I've seen an upper left, lower left, upper right, either lower middle or lower right. I'm gonna go with lower middle, lower right, and then upper. So let's go with it. Oh, nice. Damn, that didn't hit get hit once? What?
Let's see if I've proven myself.
Nice.
Ah, the joy of solving puzzles.
Marvelous. In this case, it would seem that the pen is not stronger than the sword. Damn. Oh, Luke.
Professor, behind you!
Oh, a big one.
Professor! Professor!
What? Oh. Pro skills.
Well, now, that was close.
Yeah.
Storyteller, I'm afraid that the power of your pen is no longer absolute.
You never fail to impress me, Professor Layton. Just tell me one thing. What exactly are you trying to achieve?
You could say, I'm trying to lift the veil that hangs over the town.
If that is indeed the case, the answer lies in the final story. This very evening, the great witch Bazella will be tried, and all stories will end. You should take your place in the gallery and observe the final trial.
Permit me, if I may, to ask you a question, Mr. Storyteller. Why is it that you are here?
What?
You too should be watching in the gallery, watching as your twisted story unfolds.
My twisted story? What do you mean by that?
You must surely be aware that your story has already become twisted. Take our arrival in this town, for instance. Not to mention our being here at this very moment. Neither of these things could have happened in the story you wrote. In other words, what I'm saying is that you are no longer the weaver of the tale.
Final spell. When that spell is invoked, Labyrinthia's true form will become clear to all. It is a spell that has always been hidden within plain view. What's that supposed to mean? Essentially, the final spell is concealed at the start. What on earth are you talking about? Bah, I thought you two took it upon yourselves to unravel mysteries, do you not? Do what you will with it. Very well. Now then, I believe there's just one thing that you may wish to hear from me. What would that be? Firstly, what would you say if I told you that this twisting of your story is leading towards a grand finale quite different to the one you had planned? What do you mean? This evening, you supposedly gave up your life to the great witch Bazella, did you not? As a result, the person thought to be Bazella is being tried in court at this very moment. Now, if you'll permit me to ask, do you happen to know the name of the accused? Naturally, I wrote the name myself. There can be no question. Of course, the name of the accused is Aspella Cantabella. What are you saying? You mean my Aspella is... Yes, the accused at this evening's trial is none other than Aspella Cantabella. Wait! So was Kira hiding there because she was supposed to be the accused? That can't be, that's preposterous. This is your doing. What have you done, Layton? You ask me what I've done, Mr. Storyteller. I am but a solver of puzzles and mysteries. I do not concern myself with scheming. My Aspella, why? How is she the accused? Perhaps you ought to go and see for yourself, Mr. Storyteller. Do you think it's a good idea to just stand here lamenting your daughter's fate? What's to be done? Well, Mr. Storyteller, I will be returning to the court. I'd like to witness this grand finale with my own eyes. Ah yes, before I leave, there's just one thing I'd like to make clear. I do not intend to simply take my place in the gallery and observe the trial. Naturally, there's only one place for me to stand in order to unravel all of these mysteries. You mean to say that you will stand as the defender? Unfortunately, the defender's position is already taken. More, Mr. Storyteller. I'm the one who knows the truth. The true identity of the great witch, Bazella, that is. How? How can you know? There's only one place at which I should stand in order to assert such a fact, and that is not on the side of the defense. Surely you can't mean. Anticipate seeing you again soon, Mr. Storyteller. What? What? Last Inquisitor. Okay, guys. So, the trial's starting yet again. One second. So, court is now once again in session. However, I must say I'm quite surprised at this recent turn of events. To see Miss Kira at the witness stand once again, frankly I cannot believe my eyes. You were most certainly sent to the flames as a witch. That's right. I was there, I saw it. She most certainly was. Then how is she still alive? Is it because she's a witch? Can witches not die? No, she must have used Demir and vanished just in time. I say, send her straight to the fire. We'll do it ourselves if we have to. Enough. A witch must be in possession of a Talia Magica in order to use magic. I hate to disappoint you all, but do you see such a thing on her person? I think not. But she must have... That girl must have used Demir, surely. You can see that, High Inquisitor. Demir is a spell able to make someone disappear from sight. It cannot make one vanish entirely, and besides, an investigation conducted by the Knights of the Inquisition has concluded that this girl is not capable of using magic. Listen well, Miss Kira. Your existence alone jeopardizes the very peace of Labyrinthia, yet given the current situation, it is now imperative that you testify to this court regarding what you saw immediately.
Objection!
That would not be necessary. But this girl has already been convicted and tried as a witch in a previous trial. What good could come of her testimony?
Objection!
But she was found hiding at the crime scene. I'd say that makes her a very important witness, a witness whose testimony we cannot choose to ignore. High Inquisitor Darklaw, I'm afraid your objection is overruled. You wish to proceed, then? Very well. Let us see just how much of her story this girl is willing to tell the court, shall we? There's no doubt about it. Miss Kira must have escaped through the passage leading under the Chamber of Fire. Although, from the looks of it, the judge doesn't have a clue that escape would even exist. I wish you'd hurry up and get the hint. I'm dying to take this helmet off already. The top of my head really itches. Sorry, Maya. Take that thing off now and we're as good as done. Just hang in there a little while longer. Ah. Very well, witness. You may begin your testimony. Explain to the court how you are standing here in court today, and why you were hiding at the crime scene. I'm not familiar with this Kira you keep talking about. I came from the Eldritch Woods. I came to this town to summon forth the fire dragon and kill the storyteller. As it rained, I waited near the bell tower next to the vigilantes for my chance. I was only there to carry out my orders. I don't know anything else outside of that. You came here to kill the storyteller? Yes, that was my task.
Objection!
Keep in mind, this girl was not the one who summoned the fire dragon in the end. That was the accused. As I warned you earlier, there's nothing to be gained from this witch's testimony.
Objection!
Now hold on. She was still present at the scene of the crime with the intent of murder, the intent to murder the storyteller. The defense insists we be permitted to continue with our cross-examination on those grounds. Darklar is really trying to weasel her way out of this cross-examination. That means there has to be something there. I must admit, I too am extremely interested in hearing what this witness has to say. Defender, you may begin your interrogation. I'm not familiar with this Kira you keep talking about. I came to the town to summon forth the dragon. I was only there to carry out my orders.
Hold it!
Miss Kira, who exactly gave you your orders? I cannot say. And why is that? I'm not to disclose the identity of the one who has given me my orders. That in itself is an order. How convenient. I'm only supposed to carry out my orders, nothing more. I do not know anything else, and besides, there's nothing more that I can really do. Nothing more she can do. But hold on just a minute. Surely you are capable of using magic. You are a witch, are you not? I am not a witch. What did you just say? I cannot use magic. She can't use magic. This girl is a witch. Every person in this courtroom knows that, as a matter of fact. There can be nary a doubt. Doesn't look like there's much to work with. Even though she just finished explaining everything, I still don't fully understand. Oh man, Nick, you don't think this Kira is actually some sort of crazy magical zombie, do you? Maya, you went through the same thing as Kira. Did you become a magical zombie? Oh yeah, I guess not, huh? Luke and I couldn't believe it was Kira when we ran into her in the marketplace. I mean, we thought for sure she was gone or back at the trial. I don't think I'm far off, though. This Kira is way different than the old Kira. Looks like she doesn't remember a thing. She's almost like another person entirely. But what if that's just it, Maya? What if the Kira right here, right now, is the real Kira, and the old Kira wasn't? The real Kira, huh? Yeah, and that's why. I think I'm bound to find something useful in her testimony. We can do this, Nick. I hope you're ready to slam on some desk, because we're gonna do some serious pressing here. Hold it right there, Miss Kira. You snuck right past the vigilantes. Yes, that might... Oh, the girl is a witch. Therefore, something as simple as vanishing from sight is child's play. Isn't that right, witness? Yes, that is correct. Aha, I remember now. Just a few days ago, this girl used that very vanishing spell, Demir, if memory serves. Well, what are you gawking at, witness? Continue with your testimony. What was that just now? I could have sworn I just saw Kira's face turn even paler than normal. Wait a second. There's something not right about this testimony. It's just a hunch, but what should I do? Press further. Miss Kira, I have one simple question for you. You stated earlier in your testimony that you snuck past the vigilantes guarding the bell tower and went right inside. Tell me, did you use the spell Demir to get by them? That must certainly be the case. Had she not, she would surely have been spotted.
Objection!
But remember what she let slip just a moment or two ago? She denied being a witch and stated she cannot use magic. Oh! Therefore, if that's true, then you, Miss Kira, would not have been able to use Demir at all.
Objection!
What a ridiculous argument. How else would this girl have been able to walk right into the bell tower unnoticed by the guards? Explain that.
Objection!
I have a better idea. How about we have the witness herself explain it to you? What do you say, Miss Kira? I am not a witch. I cannot use magic. So then, exactly how were you able to ascend the bell tower without being noticed? Witness, amend your testimony this instant. Okay. I'm getting under Dark Law's skin here. What's going on? There's gotta be another way she got into that bell tower unseen. But other than magic, I have no idea what that could be. The robe of invisibility. Would that be this one?
Objection.
There was in fact a robe dropped and left at the crime scene tonight. A robe? Miss Kira, that robe of invisibility that you mentioned earlier, wouldn't happen to be this one right here, would it?
Objection!
How ludicrous. You are trying to tell the court that is the robe of invisibility? If it's really a robe of invisibility, then how is it we can see it right now? Dirty white spots and all. Well, she's kinda got a point there. Oh, hey, what if the robe actually disappears when you wear it? Give it here, Nick. Watch in wonders as Maya the Magnificent disappears before your very eyes. So, are you amazed yet? Yeah, I'm amazed at how totally ridiculous you look in that. Hey, what gives? This thing must be busted or something. I didn't disappear at all. Well, that's not it. No. Tonight, at the bell tower, I was wearing that robe. What did you say? Order! I said order! But how's that possible? The robe did not disappear at all just now. That's because of the white powder on it. It's usually not that dirty. Oh, you mean these spots here? Please don't tell me. Oh yeah, Patty totally unloaded an entire bag of flour onto those nights, remember? Not to mention it was still raining when we were up there. The flour must have gotten nice and wet, so it stained the robe. Say, what if we try washing the flour off? Ugh. There's a small water fountain at the edge of the square. Head there right now and wash the robe so that we can get to the bottom of this quickly now. Run, Phoenix! For Dark Law says no. Alright, this shouldn't be too hard. Take note, Nick. This is how you do the laundry. See, all you have to do is throw the robe into the water like so. Wait, what? So? Do you see anything, Maya? That's just it. I don't see a thing. It's disappeared. What? I frantically took a close look at the water in the fountain, but the robe had actually vanished without a trace, right there inside the fountain. Defender, what is the meaning of this? How could you have lost such a vital piece of evidence? Your Honor, it wasn't on purpose, trust me. I wish I knew how it happened. I can't believe it, the robe actually disappeared from sight. I don't quite know what you're talking about. I can still see the robe just fine. Huh? Look, it's right here, see? No, Miss Kira, I really don't see. Because there's nothing to see. So is that how it works? Putting the robe on makes you disappear completely from sight. But from the looks of it, only Kira is able to actually see the robe itself. It is not just me. It's all inhabitants of the Eldritch Woods. All of us can see the robe. The Eldritch Woods. Our village lies deep within the recesses of the forest, in a world much different from this one. That's where I live As long as we obey the law of the land, we are allowed to live there. I knew it. There's definitely something different about Kira compared to the rest of the townspeople here. For the time being, seeing as only the witness can see the robe, we will cover it in flour again for the sake of visibility. But there's still one tiny thing bothering me. Miss Kira, your robe was found on the middle floor of the bell tower, the same floor where we found my client. However, you were hiding on the uppermost level of the bell tower. You testified a little while ago that you dropped your robe, but I have to wonder, what exactly were you doing there on that top floor? It would seem there's still much we must ask the witness. What say you, High Inquisitor Darklaw? It is the Inquisition's duty to follow my lord's decision on such matters. I have no objections.
Very well, witness. You are hereby ordered to continue with your testimony. Tell us what happened between your sneaking up to the top floor of the bell tower and tonight's most terrible crime.
Yes, okay. Middle floor of the tower. I started to turn around, but I was too late. They attacked me from behind. There was nothing I could do. My arm was restrained, and the attacker covered my mouth. As I struggled to get away, I think I managed to pull something off of my attacker. That's when I lost consciousness. I woke up to find myself next to the bell on the top floor of the tower.
Witness, are you saying someone attacked you while you were in the bell tower?
Yes, that is correct. But who? I don't know. They attacked me from behind, so I couldn't see who it was.
So you were unconscious the entire time after that?
That's why I was unable to complete my mission. But even if I hadn't been unconscious, I couldn't have done anything trapped high up in the belfry like that. I wonder if that weird contraption we found there was used to move Kira up to the belfry. At least I can't see any other way she could have got up there. You heard the witness. She was locked up in the belfry of the tower. In other words, she couldn't have had anything to do with tonight's events. Therefore, there is no need for this utterly useless interrogation.
Objection!
Not so fast. The witness also testified that someone attacked her that night, tonight.
Defender, are you implying that this attacker could have been Bazella?
I cannot say for certain, Your Honor. Regardless, the defense requests we be allowed to cross-examination this witness.
Request granted. Now then, Defender, you may begin your interrogation.
And here's where the fun begins. Let's see if we can coax this mysterious second witch out of hiding. I was waiting on the middle floor of the tower.
Pull something off. I'm gonna go with this
Objection!
since it fell off. Oh, okay.
Miss Kira, you stated that you felt yourself snap something off of your attacker. Would that thing by any chance be this right here? Oh, that's it. I recognize that shape. That was the object I grabbed.
What did you say? But that's the accused pendant, is it not?
Not quite, Your Honor. There are actually two pendants like this. The one you see here is the counterpart to Miss Cantabella's pendant. Now that you mention it, I remember. The necklace was actually very tough. It really didn't rip right off so easily. So I struggled against tugging and pulling at it for a bit, and I must have scratched their neck in the process. Wait a second. You mean you scratched your attacker's neck? I think so, but I don't know for sure. Nick, in that case,
That means the dark stuff on the necklace could be... Yeah, it could be the attacker's blood. As the court can clearly see, there are still traces of blood left on the necklace itself. However, take one good look at my client, and you'll notice there are no visible scars or cuts of any kind around her neck. Ergo, there is no way Miss Cantabella would be Miss Kira's attacker.
Objection!
Nice try, Defender. But I must stop you right there. Huh? Have you already forgotten what I told you? The Great Witch can use any spell in existence. She could have easily healed any such wound in the blink of an eye. Saying this, but I already miss Inquisitor Barnum. Man, we really can't catch a break on this one, huh, Nick? Let us resume the interrogation. Witness, continue with their testimony. And they struggled to get away. I think I managed to pull something off. The attacker covered my mouth.
Objection!
Miss Kira, there's something a little strange about your testimony just now, wouldn't you say? You stated that you were attacked from behind, and that the attacker grabbed you by the wrist, correct? Yes, that's right. Assuming that was in fact the case, then I'd say no matter how much you struggled, there's no way you would have been able to yank off this pendant, don't you think? The strap on this pendant is too short. There's no way you could have reached behind you and managed to pull it off. That is a good point. Miss Kira. The only way you would have been able to yank this pendant off of your attacker is if they were standing directly in front of you. No! Order. Order, I say.
Objection!
The witness was the victim of a physical attack. It's only natural that she'd be in a bit of confusion on some of the details.
Objection!
High Inquisitor, I wouldn't exactly call mistaking the location of your attacker. being a bit confused. I call it more of a barefaced lie. Well now, Defender, I see you are as pathetically short-sighted as ever. Your argument is only valid assuming that this girl here actually saw her attacker. If she was not able to see this person, well, I'd say it'd make no difference where they were standing. Then that means the attacker was also wearing one of these robes. That is impossible, my lord. As the witness already stated earlier, only residents of the Eldritch Woods are able to see these robes. In short, the attacker must have been a witch and must have disappeared from sight with the use of magic.
You must mean the Great Witch Bazella.
There's one more thing proving the attacker to be a witch. And just what might that be? The witness has stated that she lost consciousness. If you take a look at the Grand Grimoire, you will notice a spell called Feigntful. Witness, allow me to ask you. Did you hear the incantation of this spell? Now that you mention it, I do remember hearing something like that. Say what?
Oh, here it is. Feigntful causes those who hear the incantation to lose all consciousness.
We must not forget the Great Witch can use any of all magic at will.
Witness, amend your testimony to reflect this important piece of information.
Yes, right away. Oh boy, I can't believe she managed to get out of that one. But still, I'm not about to give up just yet. I'll keep on going until we finally get to the bottom of who this attacker really is.
Now then, let us continue with the interrogation.
I heard the incantation for Feigntful, and before I could even turn around.
Objection!
Miss Kira, I've watched you at that witness stand this entire trial, desperately trying to keep something hidden from the rest of the court. I wonder if you're familiar with the saying, a lie begets more lies. It means multiple lies are bound to unravel and leave your story with more holes than Swiss cheese. Get to the point, Defender. According to the Grand Grimoire, Feigntful causes a person to lose all consciousness. It's written here in black and white. Its effect takes hold the second the incantation is heard. Miss Kira, you testified as follows. You heard the incantation for Feigntful and immediately became aware of the presence of your attacker. You then put up a fight. But if you really did hear that incantation, there's no way you would have been able to yank the pendant from your assailant.
Order! What is the meaning of this?
The meaning is that Miss Kira didn't actually hear the incantation like she claimed she did.
But then why? Why on earth was this girl unconscious?
Kira was definitely knocked out by whoever attacked her. And when she woke up, she found herself up on the top floor of the bell tower. It's possible Miss Kira was rendered unconscious by... The answer here is obvious. Something other than magic must have knocked her out.
Objection!
And what, may I ask, makes you so certain of that? It is not possible that another spell could have been used.
Objection!
That's just not possible. You of all people should know that. What? Miss Kira's claim that she heard someone say the incantation is completely false. Even so, that wouldn't be too much of a problem if she actually had heard an incantation.
That's right.
However, going by her testimony, that can't have been the case. The only spell capable of making someone lose consciousness is Fainful. Isn't that right, High Inquisitor Darklaw? Defender, are you claiming there's another way besides magic that could have been used to render Miss Kira unconscious? There's only one other thing that crossed my mind. I'm speaking of course, about sleeping medicine. Sleeping medicine? If you remember, Miss Kira stated the attacker covered her mouth before she could scream. In doing that, the attacker was able to administer a potent sleeping medicine, thus putting Miss Kira out like a light. Indeed. That does make sense. Therefore, Your Honor, the attacker did not necessarily have to be Bezella. I mean, why would an all-powerful being capable of commanding any and all magic need to resort to drugging someone?
Objection!
Hold it right there, Defender. They managed to sneak past the guards and make their way up into the bell tower? Clearly, they must have used magic to appear invisible.
Objection!
You don't need magic to make yourself disappear, High Inquisitor. Throw this on, and getting past those guards at the tower is a piece of cake.
The robe of invisibility.
But despite all that, there's still one glaring problem. Miss Kira. Yes, you admitted to the court earlier that you were attacked from the front, correct? If that's the case, then there's only one possible conclusion we can draw. You, Miss Kira, were entirely capable of seeing your attacker's face. Why is that? I didn't... It's simple. You even said it yourself. Only residents of the Eldritch Woods are able to see this robe. That means, Miss Kira, there's a piece of this puzzle only you could possibly know. Only you can tell us the identity of the person who entered the bell tower and attacked you tonight. I can't tell you. No matter what happens. I just can't tell you no matter what. You see, everyone? This witness has been covering up for someone from the very start of this trial.
What?
But luckily for us, we won't be needing any more of Miss Kira's testimony. Because the answer is staring us right in the face. I'm speaking, of course, about the true identity of Miss Kira's attacker. All the clues so far point to this one person. Defender, I take it you're prepared to prove such a serious accusation? I am. Alright, it looks like it all comes down to this. Now we'll finally see who's been pulling the strings this whole time.
Very well, Defender. Tell the court. Who was the one responsible for attacking the witness and locking her up at the top of the tower? I'm gonna go with Darklaw.
Take that!
The answer is obvious, Your Honor. It was you. High Inquisitor Darklaw.
Whoa! Whoa! Order! Order! Order in the court! Inconceivable. There's no way.
I must say, Defender, your courage is impressive. However, reckless you may be, accusing a High Inquisitor is no small feat, I assure you. However, with serious accusations come serious consequences. One small misstep, and I will personally see that you never set foot in this courtroom ever again. Mark my words, Defender. I understand. How confident. I understand. Let us see if that confidence of yours is well justified. Miss Kira's attacker drugged her with sleep medicine. It likely took no more than a few seconds for her to lose consciousness. The medicine must have been very potent.
True. After all, its effects appear somewhat similar to magic.
There's only one person I can think of in all of Labyrinthia who could supply you with that kind of medicine. Sir Newton Belduke.
Objection!
Defender, you are aware that Sir Belduke has been deceased for over 3 months now, are you not? That's a fact I'm well aware of, believe me. While he was still alive, Sir Belduke provided the citizens of this town with a variety of medicines for whatever ailed them. But it wasn't all just medicine. He also created some very dangerous concoctions. That's why after he passed away, all of his medicines and creations were confiscated. Confiscated? Inquisitor Barnum said as much in the last witch trial. The victim was an alchemist. After all, we were hoping the items confiscated. Yeah, nothing, old stuff. The only person with access to them, of course, is High Inquisitor Lady Darklaw.
Objection!
So because I have access to the medicine, I must be the one that used it? Is that what you are getting at, Defender? That's right. Unfortunately for you, I would hardly call that proof. You said it yourself. Sir Beldic concocted a plethora of dangerous medicines in his efforts to assist the people of the town. He was well known for this fact, a fact that he no doubt was none too pleased with. As such, it is highly likely that those same dangerous substances are still scattered throughout the town. And therefore, Defender, it is entirely possible that the culprit was able to get their hands on such dangerous medicine.
Indeed. Long has Sir Beldic's medicine played an active part in maintaining the health of this town's citizens. There's plenty of reason to believe some of his more dangerous medicines still remain within Labyrinthia.
A piece of advice, Defender. The next time you speak in court, I recommend you try procuring some real evidence before spouting such idiotic accusations. If you fail to do so, your next words will be uttered to the flames. Figures. I knew she wouldn't take that argument sitting down.
Both High Inquisitor Darklaw and Inquisitor Barnum are the very harbingers of justice within Labyrinthia. Raising such an accusation against either one of them without valid reason will result in the most severe of punishments.
What does he mean by the most severe of punishments? I think the judge is saying that if I don't start making a case, we're going to be paying Sir Beldic a visit real soon. I need to present some decisive evidence and fast. I'm pretty sure I should be able to do that much. High Inquisitor Darklaw is the attacker, and the one thing that proves it is... The defense believes there is one clue here linking High Inquisitor Darklaw to the crime. High Inquisitor! That clue is actually still on you right now. On me?
I must admit, I do not know where you are going with this, Defender, but please point out this clue to the court. Shows this clue supposedly still on the High Inquisitor's person.
It's her neck. Because she said she scratched at the attacker. So it would be, she would have the scratch on her neck.
The High Inquisitor's neck? You don't mean...
Miss Kira yanked this pendant off of her attacker's neck. Take a look at the necklace. It still has a bit of blood left on it. According to her earlier testimony, when Miss Kira pulled out that necklace, she supposedly felt herself scratch the attacker's neck. Is that correct, Miss Kira? Yes. Therefore, the attacker should still have a mark on their neck from having been scratched.
Oh,
Would you mind letting the court take a look at your neck, High Inquisitor Darklaw? I'm pretty sure that underneath that high collar, we'll find exactly the mark we're looking for. Unless, of course, you were able to get rid of it with magic. Most impressive.
what?
I have to say, Defender, you've managed to finally hone that dull blade of yours into something of use. You're correct. There is, in fact, a mark on my neck that I did receive tonight.
Whoa. Whoa.
Lady Darklaw. What is the meaning of this? Does that mean Lady Darklaw is the Great Witch? Your Honor.
And, yes, I see you're still here, Defender.
Your Honor, I know you're shocked and everything, but come on, work with me here. Your Honor, the defense would like to call High Inquisitor Darklaw to the witness stand.
What did you just say?
It's quite clear that the High Inquisitor has some connection to what transpired tonight. And what's more, There is a chance that she used her position of authority as High Inquisitor to frame my client as the Great Witch. But never in all my years as judge of this court has an Inquisitor been asked to take the stand in the middle of a trial. Well, we're going to have to make some history here. We're finally going to find the truth, Your Honor. Even so, this trial cannot continue any further without an Inquisitor. Hey, in that case, how about we get Inquisitor Barnum? Inquisitor Barnum remains incarcerated in the underground dungeons for the crime of treason against the storyteller. I don't think he will be able to make it to this party. No way. Most regrettable, Defender. This whole thing is hopeless, unless High Inquisitor Darklaw takes it to the witness stand. Spella will be done for and the truth along with her. But on the other hand, without an Inquisitor on the other side, the trial can't continue and the outcome would end up to the same. What should I do?
Hold it. I believe I can fill that role.
Professor?
Professor!
What are you saying?
I can prove, conclusively, that Espella Cantabella is, in fact, the Great Witch Bazella.
Oh God!
Now, Mr. Wright, the time has come at last
And
to settle this once and for all.
bring it on!
We've been waiting for the professor to show up. If there was anyone who could find some decisive evidence to win this thing, it was him. However, he ended up standing behind the Inquisitor's bench.
Uh-oh!
The professor wasn't on our side here. I had to wonder what the heck was going to happen.
I have to take down the professor! To be continued. Ah! That was hype. That was hype. I can't help it. That was hype. I loved it. I loved every minute of that. Alright. Alright, welcome back. The professor is standing against us in this trial. It is heating up like crazy. He said he can prove that Bazella is a Spella. I'm scared.
Professor? But what are you doing?
What am I doing, Mr. Wright?
Yeah, you were supposed to show up with some decisive evidence and save the day, Professor.
I'm afraid my only concern here is the truth.
The truth?
The truth behind the real identity of the Great Witch, Espella Cantabella. If seeking the truth requires us to stand on opposite sides of the courtroom, then so be it. I expect you to defend Miss Cantabella with everything you've got, Mr. Wright.
Court is now back in session. Are you prepared, High Inquisitor? So long as I remain on the witness stand, I am no longer High Inquisitor. Simply Darklaw will suffice. Miss Darklaw, I'd like to just confirm something. A moment ago, we established that you were in fact present at the bell tower during the time of the incident. That makes a total of 3 people at the scene. It would appear that was the case. However, you managed to stay hidden from 10 different guards with the help of this right here.
The robe of invisibility.
In other words, there's every reason to be suspicious of your actions tonight.
Lady Darklaw, while I cannot believe you would deceive us in such a way, I ask that you tell the court what happened at the time of the incident.
Very well. The town square was to be the parade's final stop. I patrolled the perimeter to ensure nothing was amiss. As I passed by the bell tower, a pair of small footprints leading inside caught my eye. I went inside to investigate. I had my own reasons for not allowing any one of those vigilantes to see me. I climbed the stairs up to the bell tower and saw an intruder inside, with her back turned. proceeded to apprehend them. You apprehended the intruder. While I hold the position of High Inquisitor, there are often times when I must partake in various secret tasks unbeknownst to the citizens of Labyrinthia. One of those tasks being ensuring the security of the storyteller. Security? As such, there is nothing odd nor suspicious about my actions tonight. I see. Defender, you may now begin your interrogation.
Hold it!
And what were those reasons? They relate to protecting the storyteller. It was something I was to carry out at that particular time. Did it perhaps have something to do with what was already decided upon in the story? The storyteller's word is absolute. Therefore, any and all who makes an attempt to alter his will must be dealt with immediately.
Hang on!
Excuse me, Miss Kira. Witness! Yes. Figures, she really doesn't remember her own name. You seem to be deep in thought about something. Did you remember anything regarding the High Inquisitor's testimony? No, I'm sorry, nothing in particular. It's just, I'm a little disappointed in myself. Disappointed? I traveled all the way here to Labyrinthia in order to fulfill my mission, but all I managed to do was fail and end up being captured. Regardless of your own failure, Miss Kira, the storyteller did die, as was foretold, did he not? Tonight, as the rain came pouring down over the town, I arrived at my designated location. Naturally, the bell tower was surrounded by guards on patrol, 10 to be exact. I was very nervous. She must be talking about the vigilantes. Just relax, you'll be fine so long as you're wearing this robe. I kept telling myself, little did I know I was wrong. But none of this would have happened if I was just a little bit more careful.
Enough. I would be thinking more about atoning for your past crimes and less about what could have been if I were you.
Is there anything wrong with Kira's testimony? Hold on 1 second about your testimony, Miss Kira. You were thinking to yourself that so long as you had your robe on, you would be fine. Yes, that's right, I was. So basically you were wearing the robe the whole time you were on the top floor of the bell towers, is that right? Yes, I had it on the entire time. That is until I was attacked. Then my robe was ripped off by the wind. Miss Kira, this is the first time we've heard any mention of this information. Is that so? I think I must have just forgotten. Your Honor, perhaps we should update this piece of evidence in the court record.
Right you are. Lady Darklaw, please continue your testimony.
Objection!
So, the person you saw when you entered the bell tower was actually Miss Kira. The only problem with that is that it would have been impossible. What are you talking about, Defender? Miss Kira, or should I say the witness, stated that while she was waiting on the upper floor of the tower, she was wearing her invisibility robe. Therefore, there's no way Miss Darklaw would have been able to see the witness.
Oh, you're quite right. Anyone wearing this robe becomes invisible.
Right, but there is just one particular group that can see anyone dressed in this robe.
And who's that exactly?
Only residents of the Eldritch Woods are able to see the robe. If you're from the Eldritch Woods, then you'll have absolutely no problem seeing this thing.
Objection.
So, what you're saying, Mr. Wright, is that Miss Darklaw here is actually hails from the Eldritch Woods. Is that correct? And that she knew this girl prior to tonight. That's right, Professor.
What is this?
A most impressive display, Mr. Wright. However, there is one detail that you appear to have overlooked. Something I overlooked? You say Miss Darklaw saw something she should not have been able to see. However, the truth is that there is one other possibility as to what occurred tonight. Did he just say what I think he said? It's rather easy to work out. Quite simply, the witness was not wearing the robe in the first place.
What are you talking about, Inquisitor?
This witness has proven her memory of tonight's events to be quite unreliable. I believe that by the time she climbed the bell tower, she had in fact already removed her robe. But why would she do that, though? Just as you say, Inquisitor. As you can see, Defender, your assertion is mere speculation at best. Your little witness here has been lying to the court the entire time. It's as simple as that.
Objection!
One second. The witness was quite clear with her testimony. Isn't that right, Miss Kira? I'm not sure. What? I mean, my memory is a little fuzzy. No way!
It would appear there is nothing more to be gained from this line of questioning.
Your Honor, I suggest we return to the cross-examination.
A fine idea, Inquisitor. Well then, Lady Darklaw, will you please continue with your testimony?
As you wish. No matter how you slice it, Kira looks like she's definitely hiding something. If only there was some way of getting her to talk, huh, Nick? No matter what Kira says, Darklaw just stays cool and brushes it off. Yeah, this isn't going to be easy, that's for sure. That's why we really need to set our sights on Darklaw. If we keep doing that, sooner or later Kira's bound to speak up and say something. Well, Nick, that's your most dastardly devious plan yet? Alright, I know there's still a clue or two in this testimony somewhere, and I'm gonna find it. I should go back and double check her previous testimony. There have to be some contradictions.
Hold it!
Those must have been Miss Kira's footsteps from when she snuck into the bell tower, right? Indeed. The ground outside was quite muddy after the rain, so her footprints were easily visible. Right. According to the vigilante's testimony. They thought the footprints looked like Foxy's, but it turned out they weren't hers. That's right, her footprints would have contained a mark where her stiletto had been. But the footprint I saw at the bell tower contained no heel mark at all. And you stepped inside those footprints on your way up the stairs, so as not to leave your own and risk being detected, correct? Exactly. At that time, my main task was to ensure the safety of the town square. In doing so, it was of the utmost importance that no one knew of my presence there. Had the townspeople noticed your presence there, it would undoubtedly have raised some suspicion. Indeed, so naturally that is why I did not wish to be noticed by the vigilantes. Therefore it was imperative that I mask my traces of my being there, even if it meant utilizing another's footprints.
I see. A clever tactic worthy of the High Inquisitor herself.
Is there anything off about her testimony just now? Miss Darklaw, I just noticed something in your testimony that's very relevant to the case. The defense requests you amend your testimony. You just can't help letting that ridiculous imagination of yours run wild, can you? The Inquisition has no objections. Very well. The witness will amend her testimony.
Objection!
What I have here is a sketch of the footprints left at the bell tower. So tell me, Miss Darklaw, are these your footprints in this sketch? It would appear so. I would never mean to offend the hard work of Labyrinthia's vigilantes, but tonight's task was mine and mine alone. Okay. When you put it that way, I can't help but notice a contradiction. What did you say? Miss Darklaw, you stated the following. When you climbed the stairs, the footprints had no heels, so you tried to match your footsteps to them as far as possible. However, if you look at the actual footprints that were left behind, you can clearly see that not only is the heel present, but so is the entire foot. If you were trying so hard to step on the footprints already there, then the footprints in this sketch shouldn't have heel marks.
That is very true, although I do not think such a small detail is of much importance in the long run.
I agree, it's a small detail, Your Honor, but that's not all I noticed. There's something very telling about Miss Darklaw's testimony.
Telling me so.
She stated that she stepped onto the footprints that were already at the scene in order to disguise her presence. Now there's something strange there, specifically. Why were those footprints left at the crime scene in the first place?
Objection!
Mr. Wright. Yes, Professor? Tell me, can you show the court why this seemingly minor detail is odd? I can't exactly do that at the moment. Who can say whether or not these footprints are indeed worthy of concern? And if it is an issue, then what exactly are the implications? That above all is what you must answer, Mr. Wright. I do not believe you can assert that this is a blatant contradiction at this time. Here he goes again, flexing that amazing brain of his. That's enough. Miss Kira? Lady Darklaw, how could you? How could you simply abandon us? How could you betray us?
Betray? Witness, what is the meaning of this?
Lady Darklaw, you are the mistress of the Eldritch Woods. You are the one responsible for handing us our task.
What?
This wretched girl is nothing more than a detestable spawn of magic. Her words cannot be taken seriously. People of Labyrinthia, I ask you, what am I if not a loyal daughter of this fair town? No, you're lying, Lady Darklaw. When I was waiting up there at the top of the bell tower, I was most certainly wearing that robe. Lady Darklaw, you were also wearing a similar robe, were you not? Don't you remember? What nonsense. I haven't a clue what you're babbling about. I simply managed to sneak right by those makeshift guards. 'Twas not the most demanding of tasks for someone like me. Yeah, you're right, that would be true, if you'd been sneaking around by yourself.
By yourself?
Enough. Listen to me and listen well. Continue as you are, and I will see to it that this court be the last place in which you ever set foot. It matters not, the end is already nigh. After the events of today, I shouldn't even be here right now. Miss Kira, you're saying that Miss Darklaw was not by herself at the time of the incident tonight. That's right. Lady Darklaw was wearing the invisibility robe, and underneath that robe was a young girl passed out on her back. What?
A girl? Could that be?
Yes. It was the very same girl imprisoned inside that cage up there. You mean Spella Cantabella?
Uh-oh.
Order! Order! So the accused was carried up the bell tower? My lord, there's nothing left for me to say. Just the word of the High Inquisitor versus that of a witch. Tell me, who would you sooner believe?
Objection!
Miss Darklaw, you of all people should be aware. That this isn't a matter of believing or not believing. I'm afraid those are words that carry no meaning here. The only thing that carries any meaning here within the courtroom is evidence. Don't you agree? Yes, absolutely, Professor. Well now, things are beginning to heat up a little, are they not? Fine. Tell me, Defender, have you the means to prove this assertion? Do you actually think you can prove that I, the High Inquisitor of Labyrinthia, carried the accused into the bell tower? From the looks of it, Miss Kira was supposed to keep quiet about Darklaw's little secret. She couldn't deal with all of Darklaw's denials and finally found the guts to chime in. I can't let Kira's efforts go to waste. I don't care what stands in my way, I'm going to find the truth. Your Honor, the defense wishes to present evidence proving that Miss Darklaw did in fact carry my client up the tower. Very well, Defender. You may present your evidence.
Take that!
There is something in your testimony just now that I'm not buying. And that's the footprints that were left at the bell tower. Did I not just finish admitting that those were my footprints? Miss Darklaw, you stated the following. There was no heel on the footprints, so as I ascended the stairs, I was careful to match my footsteps to them. I was careful to match my footsteps to them as far as possible. However, the reality is, the footprints pictured in the sketch actually do contain a heel. That means something must have prevented you from being able to tiptoe along the footprints that were already there.
Prevented? Oh, you mean...
That's right, Your Honor. Miss Darklaw, when you climbed up the bell tower tonight, you must have been carrying Miss Cantabella on your back, is that correct? If you remember, it rained quite heavily tonight. That means the stairs must have been quite slippery. With your two hands occupied carrying my client, there would be no safe way for you to tiptoe up the stairs without falling. That's right. That's right. There is the truth behind the footprints on the staircase.
Lady Darklaw, you...
Fine.
I admit it. It is as you say, I donned the robe and made my way up the tower. But I was not alone. I carried both Espella Cantabella and her little friend up the tower. Little friend? That black-furred creature of hers. The thing is nary ever a second from her side. Oh, she must mean Eve. When I arrived at the top of the tower, I saw this girl already there and called out to her. I was very shocked to see the mistress show up in person like that. The girl's presence was an inconvenience, so I immediately put her to sleep. Believe it or not, it's just like you said, Defender. I used what remained of Belduc's medicine to put the girl out of the picture. And that's when Miss Kira put up a fight and pulled this pendant right off your neck, correct? That's right.
I cannot fathom it. That would mean this pendant actually belongs to you, Lady Darklaw.
I just have one question, Miss Darklaw. Why? Why take Espella up the bell tower? Why render her unconscious? And why go through the trouble of sneaking past the guards? What exactly was your aim in all of this? I am in no way obliged to answer that question, Defender. What? What makes you say that? Simple. None of this has any relevance to the case at hand, that is why.
Objection!
Miss Darklaw, you rendered the witness unconscious and locked her up at the top of the bell tower. I'd say that is more than a little relevant.
Objection!
Your Honor, if I may, the Inquisition believes the defense's question to be irrelevant to the current case. Professor, what are you saying? It would seem the defense has forgotten a very important point, namely the point of this, Mr. Wright. Huh? The aim of this trial is to find the identity of the Great Witch, Bezella. Whether or not Miss Darklaw locked the witness at the top of the bell tower is hardly relevant to the purpose of this trial. But there's one thing that is very clear. Neither Miss Darklaw nor this witness could possibly be Bezella. What? If either one of the two were Bezella, then there would be no need for them to have used this robe of invisibility. They cannot use any magic, therefore it is inconceivable that either of them could be the Great Witch.
A rather straightforward argument, if there ever was one.
At the time of the incident, there were 3 people present. Of those 3, 2 used the robe of invisibility to vanish from sight, leaving only one person indeed, Miss Cantabella. With this in mind, the larger question is, who is Bezella? Is that not obvious? The accused, Espella Cantabella, is the only possible answer. Besides, the accused voice was heard by all the townspeople chanting the spell, Grand Warm.
Objection!
Not so fast. I happen to think these witnesses are extremely relevant to this trial. Did you forget about Miss Kira? She supposedly took a one-way trip to that pit of fire over there. And yet here she is, in one piece, testifying that she returned in order to kill the ruler of Labyrinthia, the storyteller. Then there's Miss Darklaw, who rendered the defendant unconscious and proceeded to transport her up the bell tower. I'd say there is more than enough reason to investigate who these two really are, only to discover that they are not, in fact, the Great Witch, Bezella. I'm saying there's a possibility that these two are somehow related to Bezella.
The court will now announce its thoughts on the matter. I must say, what Inquisitor Layton has stated certainly does ring true. However, Lady Darklaw, I have one question I must ask you. What exactly were you hoping to accomplish here tonight?
I assure you, 'twas not my intent to deceive the good citizens of Labyrinthia. However, I must now reveal the truth to you all.
What did she say? You don't think Lady Darklaw is in league with the witches, do you?
She can't be. She was the one that saw to that other witch's demise.
Lady Darklaw, are you saying that you're...
That's right, my lord. I am a shade. A shade. Lady Darklaw, will you please tell the court exactly what you mean when you say shade? Yes, of course. I grow weary of standing behind this bench. I will tell you all I can. What the heck is she trying to pull? Why testify about something that could potentially undermine your credibility? As the Great Witch. Oh, so she was the person that Barnum went to meet, like he said. Those that are put to the flames in the witch trials become shades who live their lives in the woods. We exist to carry out tasks given to us by our mistress, the Great Witch herself. I'm not a witch, nor am I a wandering spirit. What on earth? High Inquisitor Darklaw, do you mean to say that not only are you a witch, but that you're the Great Witch? Unbelievable, Lady Darklaw is the Great Witch. The Great Witch, doesn't that mean she's Bezella? That's right, Lady Darklaw is Bezella. I do hope you have not forgotten what we established only a moment ago. It is not possible for Miss Darklaw to be Bezella. But Inquisitor Layton, surely the testimony just now proves it. I'm afraid that in the heat of such revelations, you have all misheard the information. 'Tis pointless. This is the extent of what the people of this town will believe. I believe the truth will become clear during our cross-examination. Don't you agree, Mr. Wright? Defender, you may begin your interrogation.
Hold it!
Great Witch? Yes, that's right. However, I'm not Bezella. The mistress to those who dwell in the Eldritch Woods is dubbed the Great Witch. Even if I wanted to be Bezella, I couldn't, as the ever-so-charming Inquisitor stated earlier. I cannot use magic. Miss Darklaw, I have one question. What do you mean by live outside the realm? I mean just that, Inquisitor. We truly do live in a realm separate from this town. Now surely one as intelligent as yourself has worked out the answer by now, no? Perhaps. That remains to be seen, Miss Darklaw. Regardless, 'tis something we cannot discuss with anyone. But it is something that the defense should be able to prove. That almost sounds like a challenge. By the way, Miss Darklaw, since you're not actually a witch, why do you continue to be called that? To answer that, I must first discuss the true identity of the Shades.
Hold it!
So you're saying that the Kira here right now is the Shade version of the Kira from before? Indeed, Defender. The girl has no recollection of her life prior to living in those woods. What manner of witchery is this? Why? This girl, Kira, the flower seller, was cast straight to the flames before our very eyes. That's right, Your Honor. But as you can see, she didn't die. You see, there's actually a trick to the incineration device in the witch's court. A trick? Once the verdict has been delivered, the court attendants move the steel cage into position, after which it seals shut. Then the cage is dropped down into a pit of fire. The bottom of the cage then opens, allowing the witch inside to escape unharmed into an underground passage. If what you're saying is true, Defender, then what of this town's witch-purging history? What has been the purpose of all of this? You and the knights have indeed been ridding Labyrinthia of witches. However, nary a single life has been taken in the process. That is the reality. But you cannot truly expect me to believe such a ridiculous notion. Your Honor, it's true. Take a good hard look. It doesn't get any more alive than this. It's you. May. Was that supposed to be misspelled like that?
Well, it's actually Maya Fey. Okay. Your forgetfulness.
What the heck are you doing? Everyone's gonna recognize you.
Yeah, but seeing is believing, Nick. Now they have to believe you.
Do you see? Are you satisfied? All those found guilty in the witch's trials lose their names, magic, and memory. They are then sent to spend their lives as shades in the Eldritch Woods. And the mistress of those shades is the Great Witch. As you can see, this girl too has become a shade. I have no more words to express my utter disbelief at this situation. That's enough. Shall we return to the testimony? Why do I have the feeling things are going to get a lot worse? Because they are. We exist to carry out
Hold it!
task. These tasks you mentioned, were you acting on them this evening?
Yes, I was told to come here and become Bezella.
Wait just a moment, witness. Did you just say become Bezella?
My, how absolutely dreadful.
Why would anyone be given such a terrible task? Where have these shades come from? Order, order!
I'm sorry, I don't know why I was given such a task. All I can do is follow the orders I'm given. If I can do that, then I can return.
What do you mean you can return?
Such is the nature of the shades. Neither human nor witch, there is an existence spent in the shadows. Each of the shades is given specific task. Then upon successfully completing such task, they are allowed to return to Labyrinthia as brand new people.
But Lady Darklaw, how can they return as brand new citizens?
When we already
Know who they were, for instance. We all recognize the former flower seller standing before us.
Now that, my lord, remains a secret, but a secret you will come to understand sooner rather than later.
Simply baffling.
The one who gives us our task is the Great Witch. That would be you, Lady Darklaw. Oh magnificent one.
While this explanation is wrought with much I cannot comprehend, I request the witness to add it to their testimony.
Okay.
Hold it!
So about these tasks, can you give us any other examples? A shade's task must never be discussed with others, no matter what. She says that even though she just finished telling us all about her secret task.
Incidentally, do you perhaps remember when you arrived back in town to carry out your orders?
Well, not really. My memory is still a little fuzzy. Say, didn't Kira only just recently become one of those shade thingies? Still, I failed in my task tonight.
Come to think of it, when Luke and I had our little run-in with Kira, I remember being blown clear across the marketplace, but I never saw any explosive or gunpowder.
Maybe. Kira was given the task of blowing you to smithereens, Nick.
And we're done. Getting back to this testimony. I'm sure there's something here that just doesn't add up.
Hold it!
You really don't have any recollection of your old flower-selling self, do you?
I don't. When a witch becomes a shade, they lose all memory of their past life.
They lose their memories, but why? And yet you still have some grasp of the concept of magic, do you not, witness?
Let me spell it out for you. Magic does not exist in the Eldritch Woods. Oh, but there are actually lots of things back in the forest that I have not seen in this town.
There are things there you haven't seen here?
Like really huge machines, that sort of thing. There's one that spits out fire with such amazing speed, and then it expels these huge plums
of gray smoke. A machine that spits fire. Never have I heard of such a thing. Are you certain that these machines of which you speak are not simply magic?
You know, now that you mention it, I don't think anyone from this town can actually see those of us from the forest. They can't see you. Could it be something like that robe?
How can such a thing even be possible without magic?
Objection!
Miss Darklaw, if I may interrupt for just a moment.
What is it, Inquisitor Layton?
Through your testimony just now, we have all come to understand the process of how one becomes a shade. However, I was hoping you could perhaps elaborate on one additional point. Namely, what exactly is the purpose behind the shades?
If you wish to know our purpose, there are certain other things you must first understand. Once you've done that, the answer should be quite clear. Isn't that right, Defender? The purpose behind the shades. Rest assured, you will not get the answer from me. As the saying goes, the witch is in your court, Defender. Sounds like Darklaw's challenging me to figure this out. Challenge accepted. There's but one true purpose for the shades that dwell within the Eldritch Woods.
Objection!
Grand Worm.
Something that doesn't exist. I have a feeling no one is going to like the answer I'm about to give, and it'll probably end up shaking this town to its core. But I've got to tell them the truth has to come out. I gotta tell them, the truth has to come out. Since I arrived here in Labyrinthia, there's been no shortage of really strange events. Ignace, Demir, Goldor, and now, Grand Worm. The mere command of magic is in itself a crime, is it not? In this town, witches are arrested and made to participate in witch trials. They are then sentenced to death by fire. But none of those witches actually died. That supposed death by fire wasn't real. And neither is magic. It doesn't really exist.
What are you saying, Defender?
The Eldritch Woods apparently contains some rather large machines, unlike anything that exists within Labyrinthia. Machines that emit fire and produce large plumes of smoke. To top it all off, the citizens of Labyrinthia are not able to see said machines.
It sounds like nothing more than magic.
Yes, that's exactly it, Your Honor. Miss Darklaw. Magic doesn't really exist in this town. That's the answer, isn't it?
Magic does not... What utter nonsense.
It seems we have finally arrived at the stunning conclusion. The secret behind Labyrinthia.
What? Whoa! Wow. Order! Order! Order, I say! What is the meaning of this?
It means that all of the magic you've seen in this town was nothing more than an illusion created and put into motion by the shades.
But Defender, the witches, you've clearly seen them use magic.
Let us take a moment to think carefully about the systems employed by the shades.
System?
What is essential in order for a witch to use magic? The witch must possess a Talia Magica and must say an incantation in order to cast a spell. And the spells able to be cast are determined by the Scepter's magic gems. Now, what do you think is the purpose of placing such requirements on the use of magic?
What do you mean, purpose?
These are requirements. These requirements are not there to allow the user to cast magic. Rather, the reality is they are there to inform the shades of who should be using magic. It is possible that witches were always being closely observed by shades. That's why they donned these robes, to appear hidden until they were needed to create magic.
Create?
Indeed. There are all kinds of spells within this tome. It would be quite troublesome if they were simply allowed to use any spell at will. Yeah, it would make the Shade's job that much more difficult for sure. Precisely so. That is why it was imperative that a certain restriction be placed on the use of magic. You're referring to the Talia Magica, right, Professor?
Of course. No wonder the scepter could contain only 2 magic gems.
Then there's the incantation. What would happen if a witch could simply whisper the incantation quietly to herself, or not even say it at all? Boy, that'd be so cool. I'd be casting spells all day long, and no one would even see it coming. Maya, we spent an entire trial proving that you weren't a witch, remember? If the witch didn't give some sort of signal, then there would be no way for the Shades to know when to cast the spell. Right you are, Mr. Wright. The incantations were a way of telling the Shades when the witch was ready to use magic.
What on earth? Never did I think these requirements could have such a purpose.
Now, let's think back to the previous events leading up to today that have involved magic. Our first encounter with magic was the use of the spell Ignace a few nights ago. A spell like this was nothing more than a flame spewed from a machine being used by the Shades.
Then that means Demir.
A spell that makes the caster disappear. No doubt about it. It must have been this robe. Next is the incident with Goldor, the spell that transmuted me into a gold statue. While I understand this may sound a bit absurd, I can only surmise that the Shades created a gold statue in my image, took me and left it in my place, the instant the incantation was uttered. Professor, it's no more absurd than anything else that's happened so far. We can therefore conclude that all of the magic in Labyrinthia was created in a similar vein. What do you say to that, Miss Darklaw? I'd expect nothing less from you, Inquisitor Layton. At any given time, there were between 5 and 10 witches in town. All of the witches were accompanied by Shades at all times. It was easier than you would think. You see, the Shades living in the Eldritch Woods total in the hundreds. It was simply a matter of having each of the Shades operate in shifts in order to watch over each of the witches within the town.
I must say, Lady Darklaw, that is quite a number of Shades.
'Twas not only those who fell victim to the flames that were turned into Shades, but their victims too were made permanent residents of the Eldritch Woods.
So none of the victims were dead. Roog and whatever his face was.
Then, those 2 shady thieves from before were turned into Shades. Ah yes, you mean Robs and Muggs. Despite their dubious appearances, those 2 were a couple of my best Shades. Shady thieves turned into Shades. This stuff writes itself.
I cannot believe what I've heard.
However, there's still one thing I do not understand just yet. And what would that be? As has just been explained, we have established that there is no possibility of magic being real. But replacing me with a gold statue to give the illusion of transmutation, for example, while it sounds simple enough, I myself, and presumably also Miss Fey, have no recollection of this replacement actually taking place. Hey, that's right. The professor got all blingy before I could even bat an eye. It begs the question, how and when was that statue created, let alone used to replace me?
That's true.
The same goes for Goldor. It's supposed to create a portal between 2 green-colored walls. Perhaps that is exactly why the spell can only work on green walls, Mr. Wright. Still, it'd be impossible for the Shades to get those portals ready so quickly. I agree. If we take a moment to think, we can see that all of these spells have one strange thing in common. A thing in common? Yes, indeed. Almost as if some time between the start and end of the incident was unaccounted for. Furthermore, Any memory I might have had regarding the incident seems to have simply disappeared in the process. I've got it, Nick. It's just like what happened to Kira. She's got absolutely no memory of her life in Labyrinthia before the trial, right? Yes, I do not remember this Kira you speak of. And oh yeah, when you really think about it, doesn't it seem super weird how the Shades are able to return to town if they complete their task? You're right, Maya. I mean, the townsfolk are bound to remember some things about them, right? Like how Miss Kira here threw a major hissy fit in court and was barbecued for being a witch. Eloquently put, Mr. Wright. Hence we cannot yet conclude that this entire illusion was primarily accomplished through the use of machinery. Simply put, there must have been some way of affecting the memories of all those within the confines of this town. Missing time and lost memories. Now that is interesting, Inquisitor. You're correct. There is in fact a secret that lies within the depths of the Eldritch Woods. Something that the people of this town cannot see, something that can rob people of their time and memories. 'Tis the very thing that connects all of what you have heard tonight. 'Tis a secret of monumental proportions. And, let me guess, 'tis a secret that cannot be revealed by the mistress of the Eldritch Woods. Is that right? Yes, an excellent deduction, Defender.
Witches' souls wander astray within the Eldritch Woods. Until tonight, I thought this nothing but a mere fairy tale told to children. But it has become clear that a seemingly large organization lies within that force.
The Witch's Court is the border between this world and the other world. Then that means, in this world, your Labyrinthia's High Inquisitor, while also being mistress to the Shades in the other world, otherwise known as the Great Witch. May I intervene for just a moment, Mr. Wright? Sure. In all honesty, there is still something that sticks out as a little odd, particularly in Miss Darklaw's previous testimony. Did you say the previous testimony? I'd already pushed that out of my head. There was one vital truth that we managed to take away from that testimony.
You mean that magic does not truly exist in Labyrinthia? Indeed, quite the vital, albeit shocking truth.
However, there is one more truth hidden within the testimony. There's something else in that testimony. I must have checked the court record more times than I can count, but I didn't find a single other contradiction. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Wright? When there is no evidence left, we have but one more weapon at our disposal, with which to uncover the truth. Oh, hey, I've got it, Nick. Remember, in a witch trial, you can cross-examine two witnesses at the same time. Hey, that's right, completely forgot. Being able to have a look at two testimonies side by side is bound to turn up a contradiction somewhere. And that contradiction should provide us with a much-needed clue. I'm not entirely sure where the professor's going with this, but I believe in his judgment. Besides, if we're going to blow this case wide open, it's gotta be worth a shot.
Very well. We will now take a closer look at Lady Darklaw's previous testimony.
This is it, Miss Darklaw's previous testimony. There's a glaring contradiction between this piece of testimony and the others. Ready yourself, Mr. Wright.
Objection!
Your Honor, there's obviously a huge discrepancy between these two pieces of testimony. Miss Darklaw stated that she is known as the Great Witch. However, according to Miss Kira's testimony, Miss Darklaw was her venerable mistress, the Great Witch. That is correct. She was the Great Witch. Note Miss Kira's use of the past tense.
Past tense? I'm afraid my grammar is not quite what it used to be. May I ask what you mean?
It's simple. Miss Darklaw was mistress to the Shades, or as they also called her, the Great Witch. Therefore, she is no longer the Great Witch.
She is not the Great Witch? Witness, is this true?
Huh? It is as you have heard, my lord. I relinquished my position as Great Witch in order to fulfill the objective of this task.
What would that objective be again?
That would be the assassination of the storyteller, Your Honor. Witness, at the beginning of this trial, you stated that you came to town in order to complete your task, didn't you? What's more, you said that you were going to summon the fire dragon to do it. Now this task, it wasn't Miss Darklaw here that gave it to you, was it? No, it wasn't. So then, the most pressing question is, who was it that gave you that task? Who told you to come to Labyrinthia and assassinate the storyteller? I cannot tell you, no matter what. Alright, so Darklaw isn't the Great Witch. Which must mean the mastermind behind this entire thing is... It would seem the defense has worked it out as well. Mr. Wright, you know who really gave Miss Kira her task tonight, do you not?
Defender, I ask you in Layton, the court. Show us who really gave this witness her task to assassinate the storyteller.
Take that!
The storyteller?
We're talking about someone with the authority and power to replace the Great Witch, someone who calls the shots. I can't think of anyone else that meets those criteria, except for the storyteller himself.
But preposterous. Then that would mean...
Exactly, Your Honor. It means that the storyteller gave this final task to Kira himself. He was, in short, responsible for his own assassination.
Whoa! Order in the court, but for what purpose? Why would he plan his own assassination?
That I cannot say, Your Honor. However, the final chapter of the story does tell of his inevitable death. While he assigned this task to Kira himself, it is perfectly natural that he would do so. However, what is not natural is your behavior tonight, Miss Darklaw.
What was unnatural about the High Inquisitor's behavior?
You were once the head of all the Shades, and yet tonight you tried to interfere with the storyteller's plan. You rendered Miss Kira unconscious, and locked her away in the belfry of the bell tower. That to me seems like the activity of someone aiming to put a stop to his plan altogether.
Indeed, Lady Darklaw, what would be the reason for such behavior?
I leave that to you, Mr. Wright. Based on what we've seen in this trial, the defense believes Miss Darklaw's reason for covering up her actions tonight, can only be attributed to one thing. This plan was handed down by the storyteller himself. And Miss Darklaw was definitely aiming to put a wrench in it, but why? There's one possible reason I can think of as to why Miss Darklaw had to hide her actions tonight. She was aiming to betray the storyteller.
Betray the storyteller?
I agree, Mr. Wright. The storyteller used the Great Witch Bazella to take his own life. Instructions to carry out the plan were given to Miss Kira. However, Miss Darklaw planned to intervene and change the scenario at the very last minute. She planned to do so by changing the identity of the Great Witch from Miss Kira to Miss Cantabella. Thus bringing us to our current situation, Miss Cantabella on trial for the murder of her father at the hands of Bazella. You, Miss Darklaw, seem to harbor a rather strong hatred for the storyteller, if I'm not mistaken. A hatred, you say? Yes, I suppose you could call it that. That's right. Behold, my revenge.
Did you say revenge?
Miss Darklaw, will you please tell the court of your plan for revenge? If you insist. The High Inquisitor, and also the Great Witch. Long have I donned these two masks, one as Labyrinthia's protector, the other its harbinger of destruction. In other words, I was merely meant to serve him. And yet, he sought to selfishly pen the ending of the story under his own terms. He did not care enough about me or any of the townspeople to allow us the dignity of deciding our own fate. Indeed, what we witnessed tonight was the cowardly act of a man looking for an easy way to end that which he could not properly finish. He cared for no one but himself, hence the sudden sham of an ending. And for that I will never forgive him. What do you mean by sham of an ending? The Great Witch Bozella is to summon a dragon of fire and end the life of the creator. She will then be put on trial and judged, thus heralding a period of peace and prosperity for all of Labyrinthia. Such is the ending written for this town and its people. Tis not an ending I oppose in principle. Who would not wish a happy ending for their own people? However, the problem lies in Bozella's identity. Bozella's identity? As you know, he assigned the role of the Great Witch to this girl beside me. But you're saying that was a falsehood. Is that correct? I knew Bozella's true identity. 'Tis not something I could ever forget. That is why I went to the bell tower, and it is why I took the accused there. I did it to ensure the true witch foretold in the story was given the judgment she was due.
The true witch? You don't mean...
Yes, I speak of none other than Aspella Cantabella.
Objection!
Miss Darklaw, there's a glaring contradiction in your statement. And what would that be? It's supposedly common knowledge that Bozella is capable of using all magic. However, that is far from the truth. Magic does not actually exist in this town. It was all one giant illusion created by the Shades. Therefore, the Great Witch Bozella cannot exist either. You fool. Defender, you really don't have a clue, do you?
But wait just a minute now. Is the defender not correct? If magic does not exist, then it goes without saying that witches do not exist either. And that would include the Great Witch, would it not? That's right. They've been lying to us this whole time. Dastards. Bozella isn't real.
Objection!
Mr. Wright, there is a fundamental mistake in your argument. What do you mean? I have but one simple question. What exactly is Bozella? Huh? Well, she's supposed to be the head of all witches. Allow me to reword the question. The Great Witch Bozella is the root of all disaster within Labyrinthia. Knowing that, what specific disaster might she have been the root of? That would be, I just thought of something. We've been hearing Bozella's name left and right since we got here, but not once has the real Bozella shown up in person. Indeed, Miss Faye. Bozella herself has been virtually absent from the story thus far.
But Inquisitor, did she not claim the life of the storyteller tonight?
It would appear so, Your Honor. However, there is just one more thing. Consider this. Which particular story is every citizen of Labyrinthia most familiar with? Well, that would have to be the legendary fire, right? Precisely.
Surely you're not serious, as the name implies. That is but a mere legend. No one knows for certain if it occurred.
So they say, but the reality is, there are still traces of that terrible fire within the town today. The professor's right. We've even seen some of it up close and personal. Hey, yeah, at the Great Archive.
You're indeed correct, Inquisitor. Littered throughout the town are burnt remnants of a fire most fierce. However, no one can say for certain what transpired back then.
You see, not a soul saw what actually happened. Let me see if I have this straight. There is an entire town full of people and no one saw what happened? Correct, except for one particular person. What? There is one person who saw everything. I'm speaking, of course, of the one responsible for the fire itself, the Great Witch, Bazella. Yes. I remember it, all of it. Spella, what are you saying? When I close my eyes, I can picture it so vividly. The awful sight of the flames engulfing everything they touched. The scorching heat on my skin, the smell of burning cinder all around me. The large plumes of black smoke, the warm tears streaming down my face. I remember it all. What you are recalling now is the moment the Great Witch Bazella destroyed our town. Well, it appears my role here is finished. As for the rest, I leave it in your capable hands, Inquisitor. Huh? Darklaw, she just vanished into thin air. She's right. These memories are proof that I am Bazella. But Espella, Mr. Wright, remember, if you will, what I said at the beginning of this trial. I came here to prove that Espella Cantabella is in reality the Great Witch Bazella. Right. There's still one more thing I wish to present to the court. I would now like to call the final witness to the stand. The final witness?
Hold it!
Ah, it would appear he has arrived. Storyteller. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, I give you this trial's final witness, the storyteller. And just like that, he appeared, the man who died not hours before, and the victim of this very trial, the storyteller himself. The professor sure chose one heck of a final witness. Morning is drawing closer and closer. How this trial will end is anyone's guess. Ah!